soul signs, and open hearts. And now I want to hear your story. Visit anywheremindbodysoul.com to send me a request to share your experience on this show, or discover how we can work together to explore the meaning behind it. Tune in every first and third Wednesday.
Welcome to the Becoming You Show, where limits get torched and possibility takes the mic. I'm Leah Rowling, human in permanent beta, neurostrategist, mom to 3 amazing humans, married to 1 legendary soul, and your no fluff permission slip to stop waiting. Every week, we rewire brain patterns, smash hand-me-down mindsets, and dive into the daring, identity-shifting conversations most people dodge. Ready to turn potential into proof? Grab your pen. Your next chapter starts now. Hello, my beautiful friends. How are you? Welcome to the Becoming You Show. I'm your host, Leah Rowling, and I am so excited that you're here with me today. Excited about this conversation. It's a different conversation today, but I think that if you allow it to be, there will be something in it for you, right? I want to talk to a very specific person today. And if you do not fall in line with this very specific person, just hold tight, because there's something in it for you. I know it. I don't think you would have pushed play on this one in particular if there wasn't something in there. I believe that's true. I believe that's true for me. And when I randomly sort through podcasts and click, like, oh my, I would have never have clicked on that one because of the title or because of whatever, but I knew to click on it. So you knew to click on this one, so welcome. The very specific person that I'm talking about today is a founder, a CEO, an executive, anybody, right, who makes the call on who gets promoted, on who gets hired, who gets enrolled into a leadership position, okay? If that is you, if you have the seat of enrolling, promoting, hiring, and firing, this conversation is for you. So here's why. Because there is a decision, right, that you make quietly over and over, and it almost never gets the scrutiny that it deserves. It does not get a committee. It does not get a model. Half the time, it does not even get a second conversation, like a vetting conversation with another person. Like, you sometimes, most of the time, single-handedly decide who you put in charge of other people. And I'm going to make the case today that you, myself included, have been making that call on the wrong evidence for years. And it is costing you more than almost anything else in your entire company. And here's my promise. Here's my promise to you. We're not just going to sit in the problem today. I'm not here to hand you a diagnosis and say, punt, see you later. We are going to name exactly why this keeps happening. And then we are going to strategize and fix it together. And my hope is by the end of this, you will know what to change, right? What to stop doing, and how to break the cycle so it does not continue to cost the next great person. Okay, so here's the pattern that we keep running. Again, myself included. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. You will know that everything I share and have a conversation about is either because of my own work that I do with myself. I am forever my first client, but they're also clients that I've worked with. Okay. So, this is the pattern. This is the pattern that I see. And I want you to tell me if you see yourself in it. Somebody on your team is incredible. They're amazing, right? They, in whatever way, right? They crush their numbers, they close the deals, they ship the work, they carry the load, they make you look good in front of other people that you answer to, right? By every measure you currently use, they are a rock star, okay? Rock star. So what do we do, friends? we reward them, right? And the reward a lot of times that we reach for, almost on autopilot, is a team, right? You make your best salesperson the sales manager, your best engineer the engineering lead, your best clinician the one who now runs the other clinicians, right? You take your strongest individual performer and you say, congratulations, you are now in charge of people. And it feels right. It feels like loyalty. It feels like you're taking care of your best person with this tremendous privilege. But I want you to look at what you actually just did. You took somebody who was world class at one job and you moved them into a completely different job. A job they have never done. A job that you have zero evidence, zero proof that they can do. And the only thing that you used to justify it was how good they were at the thing that they were not going to be doing anymore. Okay? So let me say the line I'm going to keep coming back to today. And it's really important that we understand the truth of this line. And that is this: good at the work, good at the job, good at the role, good at the responsibilities of the task, great at it even, is not translatable into good, great, the best at leading people. Two completely different skills. They're not even the same skill. They're not even the same cousins, right? And the fact that we keep treating one like proof of the other is quietly wrecking the good people and the good teams everywhere, okay? And this is not me on a soapbox, okay? This is some of the most replicated workplace research we have. And because of that, I want to shoot it to you straight, because the numbers do the arguing for me. I can say all day long how I feel, my own experiences with teams. You know, as a director of sales, I've saw it all the time. In my clients, I see it all the time. And I could argue for that point. But I'm just going to let the research back me up, okay? And make this argument for me. Gallup studied this, okay, across a massive sample, as Gallup does. When companies pick somebody for a management role, okay, they choose the person with the right talent for that role. You ready for it? About 18% of the time. What? Okay, which means on the flip side, they get it wrong about 82% of the time. Let that one sit. Friends, that is not a coin flip. That is far worse than a coin flip. That is a system reliably producing the wrong answer. And when they asked managers, right? This is also interesting. When they asked managers why they thought they got picked in the first place, the most common answers were, well, I was good at my last job, okay? Or I had been here a while. Those are the two answers, right? I was a superstar doing what I did, or I had tenure. That is it. That is the signal companies are using to decide who leads people, right? Who leads people? Who leads a team? Who co-creates results through other people? That is a completely different skill set than the responsibilities of the initial role. Past performance in a different role and tenure does not equate to effective leadership. It doesn't. And the research suggests that only about one in 10 people, okay, carry a high level of either natural talent or credentialed talent for leading others, okay? And another 2, they say in 10, can grow into real development, have the aspiration, have the ambition to do so. Okay? So most of the people that you are reaching for, right, were never naturally wired for this in the first place, right? And almost none of them are getting what they would need to build it. So now we've got roughly 4 out of 10 new managers, right, fail inside their first 18 months. This is not because I say so, this is research. So 4 out of 10 new managers fail inside their first, I think it's 12 to 18 months. Okay. And 60%, let's say the other number, 60% of people step into their very first leadership role with no real training. No training on how to effectively not just lead themselves, but to lead other people. To, again, co-create results with and through other people. Have social influence. Hold people accountable. Navigate those conversations. And enroll their team into potential. Communicate in a way that is influential and inspiring. Okay? So, just to recap, the system that a lot of us are running is that we pick the wrong person most of the time from a small pool of people that are actually suited for it. And then we hand the majority of them no map, no guidance, no leadership training, skills, communication, none of it. And then, and I see it across my Zoom on the daily, we are confused when it does not work, when it doesn't work. We're just mind blown. Like, I don't understand. I don't know why they just don't do what I'm asking them to do. And the reason is because good at the work, I'm coming back to this, good at the work is not good at leading people to get work done. Okay? And I want to share with you why this costs you twice. Because it does. Okay? It's not just about the person stuck in the role that they don't have the proper training in. Okay? Because you might be tempted to file this under unfortunate, survivable, Leah. Like, this isn't, this conversation really doesn't land with me, right? It's a few rough manager transitions, cost of doing business, right? No, friends, no. It's not the cost of doing it. This is not survivable. It's not. And I'm going to show you why. Okay. The same body of research found that managers, okay, account for at least, get this, 70% of the variance in team engagement. What? 70%. Okay. So I want you to sit with that. So the difference between your most alive, most committed, A+, high-performing team member and your most checked out, quietly miserable one that's just checking the boxes, doing enough to stay employed, is explained by one thing. I'm going to say that again, you guys. This is so important, okay? The difference between your most energetic, your most enthusiastic, your most high-performing A+ team member, rather, and the one that's just doing enough to stay employed is explained by one thing. And that is who you put in charge of them. 70% of the time. That's good enough in my book to make this a serious conversation. Okay? Who you put in charge. Okay? Not the pay, not the perks, not the mission on the wall, not your promise on your heart, not your values, not your... No, the person leading them. Okay? So when you put the wrong person in that seat, okay, because you promoted them because they were very, very good at what they do, or because they've been here a really long time and you thought that was the nice thing to do, right? This isn't the cost of just doing business, right? This is the business, okay? When you put that wrong person in the seat, you're not making one bad call. You're setting the ceiling on the entire team's engagement, their performance, their enthusiasm, their ability to hold themselves accountable, lead themselves, lead others, have social impact, right? You're setting the ceiling on whether they stay. Right? And it multiplies across every person who reports to them. And here's the part. If that's not upsetting enough, and I want it to be upsetting, okay? This is the quiet tragedy in all of it, okay? You did not just create a struggling manager. I want you to consider this. You lost a great individual contributor. Remember that star? The one who was thriving in sales? The one that was thriving in whatever the responsibilities of the role was? That one, right? The one who lit up doing the work they built for is now underwater in a job that drains them, that has them doubt themselves, that feels like they are no longer successful. They have no idea how to win in this position. And they're usually, if I'm honest, halfway out the door. So you took your best player off the field, right? You promoted them and you made them worse. And you damaged the people around them. One decision that you thought was a gift, you thought it was nice, and it costs you twice. So let me make it a person instead of a percentage, because the number is easy to nod at and then forget. Like, okay, 70%, 60%, yada, yada. Okay. I want you to picture like your best employee, right? Your best closer. Okay. The one that could literally sell anything, right? Who walked into every single room like they owned it. Okay. Who you would have for sure cloned if the technology existed. Okay. You said it. If I had 10 Aarons, my company would be amazing. If I had 15 Brendas, okay, like it would be mind-blowing for my company, okay? And you know who this person is. And then you promote them, right? You gave them 10, 5, 15 people. You gave them a title, right? They're a director now. They're a team lead now. You gave them this great title and a parking spot. And here's what happened next. Okay? Even though most of us do not see it. Okay? The thing that made them great was a deep, personal, individual mastery. It was them and the work in a room, doing the thing better than anyone. And you just move them into a job where the work is no longer the work. The work is now 8, 15, 5 other humans, right? Each with their own fears, their own off days, their own need to be led. No one ever taught them how to hold that, right? So they did and do the only thing they know how to. They try to do everybody's job for them because doing that work was the thing that they were great at. This is what I see happen. I see two things happen. This is one. They just do everything, right? Or they abdicate and then they take back control, right? They don't know how to delegate because that's a leadership skill. So they just take on everything, okay? They stop sleeping. They burn out. They get short with people. Their team's numbers are slipping and they take it personally because they have never once in their life been bad at something that they were responsible for. And then one quiet Tuesday, they updated their resume. Okay? You didn't lose them because they weren't talented. You lost them because you took the most talented person you had and put them somewhere. Their talent could not save them. That is a cost. It has a face. And it's probably something that you can picture right now. Or The other thing that I see happen is if they don't take it all on, right, on themselves, they try to micromanage it, which then just upsets the other team because micromanaging is not a way to inspire, or they just check out and do nothing. They just check out and do nothing. Okay. One of those scenarios is most likely happening in your organization right now. Right? That promotion, right, that breaks your best people, but it's presented as a gift. So here's the thing that is maybe quietly underneath all of it, right? And it's the part that probably never gets named. You assume that because they were great at the work, they would be great at leading, right? They assumed too, because you handed them the role like it was earned, like it was obvious, right? So there is an expectation sitting in the room the whole time. Nobody communicated it. Nobody trained it. Nobody attached a single tool to it. It was just assumed. And the skills that made them great, again, I'm going to say this again, right? A great employee do not fill the gap into somebody that makes a great leader. Those are two different skill sets. So the gap stayed a gap. Your expectations went unmet, not because they failed you, but because the expectation was never made real in the first place. Never made real in the first place. And so we get to understand this, okay? So when companies finally get serious about this, okay, here's what they reach for. They say, fine, let's train them, right? And the skills they train are always the same list. Delegation, feedback, holding people accountable, communication, influence, reading the room, right? And none of that is wrong. That is the social side of leadership. And it absolutely matters. But what gets skipped every time, right? There's a whole layer underneath all of those skills that no resume shows you, that no sales number reveals, and that almost no hiring process even tries to look at. And it is whether this person can lead themselves. That is the foundation. Personal leadership. Can they govern their own inner world? When they are wrong, what do they do with it? When the pressure is on, do they get clear or do they come apart, right? Do they keep the promises they make to themselves, right? Can they hold a standard for their own behavior, even when it's inconvenient? So, what do we do with this? One, first, stop making the leadership role the only reward you have. Okay? Two, decouple the two evaluations. Okay? Great at the work is one assessment. Ready to lead is a completely different assessment. And third, screen for self-leadership, not just performance and tenure. Ask the questions that actually reveal the foundation, right? How do they handle being wrong in front of people? What do they do with their own stress before it hits their team, right? Tell me about a standard that you hold for yourself that nobody is making you keep. How do you inspire? How do you influence? How do you communicate and hold people accountable? How do you enroll them in their potential? How do you do that? These are bigger questions that if you don't have the answer to, you might just promote your best team member into a wrong fit role. And if you're listening to this, you're like, oh my gosh, I need help. I know this person is capable of leadership. I know he has. I've not trained him. Own it. I have not trained him. Heck, I might not even have trained myself. Invite you to Interboard OS. Okay? That is the invitation. Go to our website. It's in the show notes. Look at what we have available for leaders just like yourself and for your team. Okay? Because if we are not taking this as serious as it is, we will continue to rinse and repeat the same mistake. And as I mentioned, it doesn't just cost you one time, it costs you twice. Remember that variance? 70%. 70% of the engagement in your team, meaning how your people show up, is based on who is their leader. Are they trained? Are they trained? If they're not, it would be my pleasure to train them. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this conversation as serious as it is. And I will see you in the next conversation. Have a beautiful one, my friends. If this episode cracked something open, good. Let it. And then head to leahrollingcoaching.com and grab the tools to rewire the story and reclaim your future. It is yours. And then share this with someone who's still waiting to be chosen, still waiting for permission, and remind them they don't need a breakthrough, that they are the breakthrough. Until next time, my beautiful friends, invest in you and keep becoming.